98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
You are listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigerians, and definitely by extension to everyone listening with uninterrupted attention. Trust us that will consistently put you in the best mood every point in time with amazing content. You know, that's definitely not void of entertainment, not void of news and current affairs, updates, educative content, and lots more. It's the Morning Express, which is well encompassing to set the best pace for your morning, the 6th day in the month of June. And it's public holiday. Well, as much as we're quite happy to witness today as well, we don't have the full holiday to ourselves. But anyway, the fact that you are enjoying yourself, it's much more better and okay for us right here, as we will definitely stay committed to bringing to your listening pleasure great content at every point in time and keeping you updated, keeping you abreast of happenings in our dailies every morning. Eid al-Kabir to all Muslim faithful, as we definitely embrace the true essence of this festival, reminding ourselves who we truly are, and how true we should be to ourselves, and also reminding ourselves to as much as possible, let's while we're celebrating, be careful and be cautious. Yes, avoiding indiscriminate dumping of refuse on the road medians, drainage channels, and even open spaces. Be given directive from several quarters, security personnel, and let's embrace proper management of waste. Actually, waste management to ensure a clean and healthy environment. And as much as we're celebrating, we are being careful and cautious. A lot of persons are actually traveling, and let's make sure if you're traveling, be careful on the road. Traveler, please be careful. Safety first. Yes, safety first. All right, still Morning Express on this dial, Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. I'm yours truly, Dᴏɪᴜ L쏘ᴅɪ. We'll be taking you through the Morning Express this beautiful morning, and it's just about time to quench your thirst with trends in the papers, major stories and happenings, and events that have crossed their way into the national dailies and reported this morning, and clouded with perspectives and analyses from our in-house analysts, which is Said Fuad, as he always does every morning with us. So welcome on board to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM with Dᴏɪᴜ L쏘ᴅɪ, the holiday edition for the week, the Eid al-Kabir edition for the week this beautiful morning. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. You want to enjoy an audiovisual one, just go to YouTube or Facebook, and then you search for Mainland 98.3 FM, and you get to see us live there. And also you can of course have conversations with us right there. Drop your comments, your reservations on any topic, any issue, any story or trend that caught your attention or catches your attention. You can definitely drop your comments on that. And also you can listen to us via Radio Garden and .com, and you get to listen to us regardless of your location. We'll be joined by Said Fuad this morning, which he will be giving us perspective, and of course be giving us holistically looking at the news we have, the trends we have in our papers this morning. Good morning, Said Fuad.
Good morning, Lady Mo. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, Eid al-Kabir to you, Said Fuad, and
thank you.
Eid al-Adha. So because I asked you earlier this week that I wanted to relocate to Kano, you said that if I can relocate, but I should change my name. And today, you are nowhere to be found.
No, don't worry. I'm still around in spirit.
Yeah, around in the spirit.
But you know, today is a special day, so
right.
But I'm with you guys in spirit. I'm in the studio there in spirit.
Wow, in the spirit.
Yeah.
It's okay. No problem. I'm sure you definitely come to get several queries from all of us. Anyways, there's really a concern even about
no,
the
we'll be
celebration.
fine. Definitely, we'll be fine.
Of course, we'll be fine. But aside for that, despite the economic challenges we have in the country, people are definitely finding their way to travel, and there's massive traffic congestion, gridlock, or there are several major highways and even travel passages from yesterday till today. I mean, a lot of people, it's quite shocking actually, where you get to see that, wow, regardless of whatever, people actually are, embracing the festival, and they're getting their way home, travel from one place to the other, and all of that. And which you also have decided to leave us here, and then you went ahead. I don't know where you are, but don't worry. We've sent security personnel to get you back at the station. But regardless of that, Fuad, people are decrying and lamenting of the traffic. Transport fare hike. By 50 to 75%. And also speaking about even the prices of RAM have surged by 40%. People are, complaining about the prices of, RAM that, we used to celebrate the festival and all of that, blah, blah, blah. And what came to me, a thought that I was pondering on, I got, reports of some countries. There are some countries that during festive periods like this, that is when they subsidize prices of, food, especially food. They bring down the prices just for people to be able to afford, to celebrate the whatever festival or festivity it is, whatever festival. But what we are seeing is because people, even to travel now, people are already complaining about the fare hike, and also, prices of food. In Nigeria, basically, you see during festivals that it is the time to celebrate that you see the prices of food and, foods and goods and services surging, going high. Don't you think that we can, imbibe that culture of when it's time for things like this? This is when we even have to bring down the prices of, so that people will be able to, celebrate together. We are preaching love, compassion, and then, I don't know. Fuad, do you have any comments?
Well, there are about 3 or 4 issues raised. One, the first one is the fact that despite the harsh economic conditions, people are still finding ways to travel to different parts of the country, from Lagos, from wherever, to celebrate, the Salah festival with their loved ones. I think that a lot of these travel plans that have been done months and months ahead. So you probably see people who have been doing some little savings, knowing that, okay, when the Salah celebration, I'm going to see my father, see my mother, maybe see my loved ones in the village or in my own town. And for Muslims, this is probably the biggest celebration. This is the real celebration that brings everybody together. You see family members who have not seen for months, all coming together to celebrate Salah. So that's why it's called a big festival.
Right.
So it's not surprising to see that a lot of people have to, make this travel, despite high cost of transportation, the harsh economic conditions. But I think as at yesterday evening, the traffic on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway had been dealt with. Whatever happened between Alausa to Kara, outward Lagos. Because at the time I was returning home yesterday, around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening, there was no more traffic on that axis. So I asked a friend who also did the same travel. I said that, look, there were a lot of last mile officials, transport managers on the road. But I think at the end of the day, the market had also contributed to the volume of traffic on that road. That's the Kara market.
Right.
Where RAM is sold. A lot of people have to park on the roads, narrow to the express, be able to buy RAM. And also, but all of those activities have gone down. The road is now very, very free. It was also a place I passed this morning, and I think it was also very free. It's not as bad as it was
congested as
2 days ago, early part of yesterday. So the roads are freer now, at least for now. Incidentally, this is also one of the very few Salah celebrations we're having in Lagos without heavy downpour. The rains are not falling this morning. You know, most Salah celebrations come with heavy downpour, but this is a different one. The sky looks very clear. We don't know, it might build up later in the day, but for now, the sky is clear, there are no rain. So it's a good one. People would always find a way to celebrate no matter what happens. And then on the issue of government in different parts of the world, in some parts of the world, subsidizing the price of food items on days like these. Well, that's probably the countries where they think these things are important. You know, I think it's not really about subsidizing anything. It's more about creating a stable economic environment where things are affordable for the people. You understand?
Right.
Well, what you have is almost like a cost-push inflation, this galloping inflation. It's as a result of a lot of the policies of the government. So you can't blame the people selling. I think it's not really about, people are just wicked or something. People selling this stuff. It's the reality of the market. Things have gone through the roof. Prices have gone through the roof because, again, we have very harsh economic conditions that you probably cannot.
But Fuad, you agree that there are you agree that there are some ridiculous, scenarios that, traders would outrageously just put price on their goods, regardless of whatever challenge they have getting their goods.
Well, you always have bad elements who just want to take advantage of the moment. In a situation where, for example, depreciation just put prices up. But at the end of the day, it's all a consequence of the fact that, look, things are tough generally. The climate is not so good. The economic environment is harsh. And so you have a situation where people are desperate, and then, of course, there will be one or two people who will take advantage of them. But generally, I think it's just that, look, this is not the best of time. If you go out there, the mood is not as big as it used to be anymore. Yes, people have bought RAM, but not
Ramke.
It was even difficult to see. But people will always celebrate I'm sure my Jᴏɪᴜ people will be doing the Oba festival. That's going to be a very big one.
Yes.
And my own people in Lagos Island too, would always celebrate. That's one good thing about people of Lagos Island. My kids, no matter where they have to go celebrate, people would always celebrate. We have that spirit of communal living. He who has gives to who don't have it, and they don't insult you. They make everybody feel at home. They make everybody feel welcome. That's the spirit on Lagos Island. My people know what I'm saying. You don't need to have to be okay. Somebody there will take care of you. And that's the spirit in that environment. So we will also enjoy our own Salah celebration, definitely. So, and I'm sure other people too. A lot of our friends who are from Ilorin, from Ibadan, from Shaki, from Ogbomoso is saying there's been a lot of travel. Our friends too in the north have also all traveled, to have a good celebration. I think it's going to be a beautiful one, irrespective.
Well, thank you for those are the concerns, really about the celebration. I hope you're still there.
I'm with you.
Okay. So still speaking about Salah, of course, several quarters have urged the citizens, Nigerians, residents for celebration beyond, just killing of ram, but the true expression of, compassion, unity, and love, which, of course, has always been the charge, has always been the message anytime we have festivals like this. And also, even Muslims, heads and society have been calling on, the administration, the Ansarudin, for example, calling on President to tackle insecurity and inflation and using this opportunity to, tackle things that are especially speaking about our economy. Even we're getting reports of security architecture deploying personnel to several quarters across the country just to make sure that we have security, we have people secured, really, or ensuring security in all parts of the country. And definitely you get a message from the stable of the presidency, which I'll start, officially with the Punch newspaper this morning, speaking about Salah celebration, still in the mood of Eid al-Kabir, Eid al-Adha, Tinubu promising economic rebound and urging prayers for soldiers. Now, President Bola Tinubu had called on Nigerians to be patient with his administration's reforms, which is also assuring that toughest days are behind us, that we should brace up for the, toughest days that are still coming by. He gave the assurance during his, message to mark the 2025 Eid-el-Kabir celebration on yesterday, and saying that, though the journey had not been easy, that his economic reforms had already started yielding positive results. That we may not yet be where we aspire to be, but urging us not to lose hope, and that we should hold on to our faith and persevere. And the reforms are gaining traction, that with key economic indicators now moving in a positive direction, and soon all will feel the benefit. And he cited the ultimate objective. I'll try to get back to side 4. I think we lost the connection right there. Just speaking about the charge by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that the objective. Are you there, Fuad?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah,
okay, I think we lost the connection right there. Okay, welcome back. That the ultimate objective of these reforms is not just to improve the statistics, but to transform lives and set Nigeria firmly on the path to sustainable development, and that there are no quick fixes. That it's not just a day job, but that the government is committed to repairing the foundations of our economy once and for all, and that they will continue acting in the nation's best interest, ensuring that the gains we are recording translate into improving people's lives. And they also urge Nigerians to continue to pray for, armed forces and security personnel who are risking their lives daily to keep the country safe. We also saw charges from the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, governors, several political players, the House speakers of Rep, and definitely all. Do you have comments to the charge from the president so far? And he's saying that toughest times are, ahead of us, but we should raise up.
Well, that's a predictable message, maybe more from the president. It's something that is predictable, that it's going to be the same rhetoric, that the worst days are over, we should not lose hope, these reforms are necessary to put the country on the right path, better days are ahead of us, these reforms are to eventually bring the more desired prosperity to the people of the country. So that's a message that you can predict. It's that, look, if there's going to be a message on this day from the president, that would be what he'll be telling Nigeria. But what the question is beyond the rhetoric. Are we really walking the talk? Where is the leadership by example, for example? That's always been a concern of Nigerians. And I think Nigerians have always been patient. Nigerians are not hopeless. They've been very hopeful all the while. Since we got into the Fourth Republic, this democratic experiment, Nigerians have always hoped that, with democracy, we will see the dividends. We'll see the justification why the government of the people, by the people, and for the people should always be better. Over 25 years down the line, Nigerians are still in a place where they are now checking whether the old one is better than the new one. And I'm talking about, it's so sad that we are still in a place where people will still tell you that, maybe it was even better that we're under the military government. It's a government that we also as despotic, terrible in many areas, no accountability, extreme corruption, violation of human rights. But if we have a democratic experiment that has translated over 25 years, and you still have people who are now wishing that we go back to that era, and I think the leaders of today have to check themselves as to what extent they fail the people, really. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Right.
A predictable message from the president. This has been the message, maybe. Consistently, this has always been the message. It's probably going to be the message again on June 12th, on Christmas Day this year. But the question is, when will the people get the dividends of democracy? When will that promise of a better life get to the people? For the politicians, they've been able to take care of themselves. For their children, their loved ones, they know how to sleep them through the system. They get all manners of appointments. When the juicy job offers are available, they know how to plug their children into this place. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
All the CBN jobs, the job past job. So they've been able to take care of themselves. They split their children, their family members through the system. They have been able to sort themselves out. But when will they now sort the people out? When I talk about the people now, ordinary Nigerians. Nigerians are waiting. So it's actually beyond the rhetoric for me. When are we going to see the life of ordinary? Look, it is not that everybody is going to be rich. That's not what we're saying. Not every Nigerian cannot be millionaire. That's not what we're saying. But every Nigerian can live a decent life. There are countries who have been able to do that. They've been able to reduce poverty to the barest minimum, to the extent that it is even not visible again in the society. That's what we're saying. Do we have what it takes? Why not? Do we have the resources? Yes. Look, I consider Nigeria the most blessed nation in the world.
Right.
By the amount of resources God has given to us. But where is the leadership to transform that God-given resources into tangible benefit for the people? That's what we are waiting for. So it is beyond the rhetoric for me. But happy Salah to everybody that be celebrating.
Right. Thank you very much, Fuad. Happy Salah to you too. Anyways, I hope we don't continue with the trend of the fact that we are always missing the previous administration where, anytime we have the new administration, we say, of course, over the years, the administration of Jonathan, Muhammadu Buhari saying that, we miss, the previous administration, and I hope that, that we don't continue that trend, when things get worse rather than, getting better in the country. Anyways, that very story, it's a bigger story on the front page of the Punch newspaper, and page 2 captures more details of that. Quite comprehensive messages from political players and Speaker House of Rep, for example, and all governors also talked about the traffic congestion, talk about price inflation and all of that, which we've also pointed at this morning. Away from that, a media politician, we always find his way into the dailies, find his way into the papers at every point in time, which is the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. And his report has gotten like a larger chunk of the front page of the Punch newspaper. Well, it's not about the media chat this time around, but an invitation to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to commission a key renewed hope project executed by the FCT administration in commemoration of the second anniversary of the present administration. And the 7-day commissioning of the project will commence from June 10 to July 3, 2025. The Punch newspaper stated the project to be commissioned and they scheduled on the front page of the Punch newspaper. While that aside, even Wike himself, the Punch is capturing that his statement saying that it would touch rich tax defaulters that heaven will not fall. According to him, he said that no reprieve yet for tax defaulters in Abuja, and declaring readiness not to back off those refusing to pay necessary dues to the government regardless of their status. And he said that it would touch rich tax defaulters and heaven won't fall. He made a statement, on Monday, 26th of 2025, the FCT administrative task force had sealed, many premises, including the national headquarters of the PDP in Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, over non-payment of ground rents. And of course, the action had, been greeted with outrage within the PDP, with its acting national chairman Umar Damagu labeling it an act of responsibility by the federal government. But regardless, I remember you also speaking about the fact that the ones that are even not supposed to be evading tax, the ones defaulting, not paying tax and all of that, speaking about the well-known, the rich ones that are not supposed to be evading tax. That aside, I want to bring several several stories to this regarding Wike so that you can analyze them together. Away from that on a side, another side, we have reports from a statement credited to the Ooni of Ife saying that university should study how Wike joined Tinubu's cabinet. He was speaking about this yesterday at the 2025 Distinguished Personality Lecture held at OAU Ile-Ife yesterday, where he expressed the amazement at Wike's political journey, describing his inclusion in the federal cabinet as a mystery. So he urged Nigerian universities to critically study how Nyesom Wike, a prominent member of the PDP, secured a ministerial position in President Bola Tinubu's All Progressive Congress APC-led administration. When I saw this report, the first report that came to my mind was I got a report earlier this week about the APC chapter of Taraba State saying that those that got appointments, that they would, sanction those that got appointments in PDP rather, those that got appointments in the APC administration. And someone make the comment or question that, what about Wike? You are going to start with Wike if you are saying that you want to sanction those that are in the PDP and then they are getting appointment, or they are receiving appointment without the consent of the NWC of the party before getting appointment. Well, that's just several sides to the story. But Fuad, what are your thoughts about these sides of the stories?
Okay, let's start with the tax defaulters and the fact that Wike says that, look, he's going to step on toes and nothing will happen, the heavens will not fall. Again, if not that, the PDP is involved, the secretariat of the PDP is involved, probably did not, this particular story probably will not make the news as much as it is making now. Because again, it is because of the political coloration to it, because of the fact that, look, the PDP is involved and you understand the position of Wike in the PDP and the crisis that is devouring the party at this time. So that's the reason why there are people who think, look, this is just a vendetta mission. It's not really about making people pay what is due to the government. But again, as much as we may not completely like the politics of Nyesom Wike, we also have to begin to question rich and influential Nigerians, privileged Nigerians, who refuse to do the basic things as paying taxes, paying ground rent, paying levies. Yesterday myself and Say, we were reviewing the story that, look, about 60 private jets will soon be grounded, or have been grounded because they refuse to pay import duty. So these are influential Nigerians. Before you buy a private jet, you get money where. So how do you bring in a private jet into the country and you refuse to pay import duty? Whereas the ordinary man now, who has gone to put maybe 2 or 3 million together to get one ticket from abroad, will be made to pay everything. So I think, look, whatever Wike has to do to get these influential Nigerians to pay whatever is due to government, I think it's a welcome development from me. Because again, why would you not pay if it's the payment that ought to be paid? You'll be surprised that in the same Abuja, maybe people in the middle class of low-income Nigerians will even have better records of paying some of these things than these rich guys. So it's just that there's a political coloration to it. And we was also said, why is it that the PDP is owing? Why should they even be owing at all? PDP as a party. They sell forms at outrageous pricing. They collect membership dues. They have governors who I'm sure can put 1 or 2 things together to pay some of these money off. So it is just what it is. And I think if we can decide that this is the way he wants to go about it, it should be a welcome development. It's a welcome development for me. To His Royal Majesty, the Ooni of Ife, Oba Ogunwusi, the Ooni of Ife,
yes,
Adeyeye Ogunwusi. Maybe because he's a royal father, he doesn't really understand. Because I don't think there's anything special in how Wike eventually made the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed. It's predictable. It's something that we knew was also going to eventually happen. It was a transactional thing. You do this for me, what do I get in return? It's great. It's completely transactional. You understand? We knew how this all happened. So maybe the Oba was not following the event, the build-up to the last general elections, and how we eventually did his party activities to work against the interests of the party and to eventually get this compensation of a ministerial position. And not just any ministerial position, using one at that to further strengthen him to continue to do the job he did for the APC against his party. And I think he's doing a fantastic job, decimating his own party, weakening his own party, you know, escalating the crisis within his own party. So, well, maybe the Ooni of Ife, His Royal Majesty, with all due respect, was also just being sarcastic. Might not be anything too serious. Maybe the papers are the one making it too serious as a report. Maybe it was just about sarcasm, really. Or maybe some form of comic relief, because Wiki was also at that event at the OAU. So maybe it was just a side jab to, you know, comic relief, because I don't think whatever happened as to how Wiki got an appointment in the APC is so important or so big that our universities should not dedicate the cost to it. It's not anything big. It's also something that has happened in the past. The late Bola Ige got appointment as a member of the opposition in the PDP under Obasanjo. I think Jonathan had also appointed one of the opposition figures into his cabinet. But this weekend was completely transactional. I don't think it's deserving of any university study or anything. You know? So these are just transactional politics that Nigerians are used to. And this is what our politicians like to do. There's no legacy, there's no ideology to it. Because if there's an ideology to it, you might now begin to say, okay, let's even begin to look at the efficacy of how Wiki, as the leader of the PDP, got appointment into the APC. There's no ideology to it. There's no conviction, no principle to it. It's just being transactional. And that's it. That's what it is.
But is it, Fuad, is it out of place for members of opposition to work with whatever party that is in administration? You know, because several concerns have been raised or questions have been raised, arguments about members of an opposition working with, are they not supposed to work? We have several members from the place where we have, is there not supposed to be a cordial, relationship, working together, or regardless of the party? We are talking about governance in an administration. Does it matter whatever party you are from? If you are, we already have, of course, there will always be a winner, but as much as possible, across the country, we have several political parties, and we have people contesting, and people will definitely get position regardless of the party.
See, if it is truly about national interest, there's nothing wrong in the ruling party, for example, identifying a talent in the opposition and saying that, okay, let's bring in this talent to deliver on a particular task. If you understand what I'm saying,
right. If
it is truly about national interest and building the nation, there's nothing wrong. You can say, okay, we have this brilliant economist, although it's in the other side of the divide politically, but it can always come in. We've also in the past had this government of national unity, where you say, okay, let's make it inclusive, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
I think that model is what you have in South Africa now, for example, where the government, they have decided, look, let's come together as a people, irrespective of our different political parties, form a government of national unity to push the agenda for nation building. But this one is not anything about anything, it's just transactional. It was just about, look, what you did for me, you get this in return. If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
The stories are, now, the build-up was clear.
Right.
How Wike did anti-party against his own party during the presidential election. And of course, this was a compensation for what he had done, and probably more compensation for what he's still doing against his party. And again, the opposition does not have to be in the ruling party, if you understand what I'm saying. Right. Because in nation building too, as members of the opposition political party, they also have a role to play in democracy.
Right. When
it comes to governance. The opposition, the vibrancy of the opposition is to keep the ruling party on their toes. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it is important to have a vibrant, active, viable opposition, so that we don't descend into a state of dictatorship. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not necessary that the opposition, by being in the opposition, they are also playing a very vital, critical role in nation building in a democracy. But what we have now is a muddled up democracy. It's even difficult to distinguish which one is which now. The way people are jumping from one party to another party, no ideology, no philosophy, no conviction, no principle. It's just completely transactional. And that's why it seems that, look, despite all this talk about, oh, we are going to get even, nothing is done. Nobody gets anything. Because these guys are just transactional.
All right. Thank you very much, Fuad. Still trends in the papers on Mainland 98.3 FM, The Sound of Lagos. Join us on Facebook and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM on Radio Garden, and also our website, www.mainlandfm.com. You're still perusing the pages of our dailies this beautiful morning. The Punch is also reporting this morning that Trump's new bill may slash Nigeria's $21 billion remittance. That the Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings from diaspora remittances may suffer a major blow following the passage of a new bill in the U.S. that seeks to impose a 3.5% tax on money transfers sent by non-citizens to recipients abroad. And the provision was made or contained in the Big Beautiful Bill Act, a sweeping legislative package by U.S. President Donald Trump and recently passed by the U.S. House of Rep. And if enacted into law, the remittance tax will apply to all international money transfers made by individuals who are not U.S. citizens, including green card holders and even temporary visa recipients, and that the tax is expected to be deducted at the point of transaction by banks and remittance platforms are remitted to the U.S. Treasury on a quarterly basis, and with no exemption threshold, the tax will, affect even the smallest of transfers and could significantly alter the behavior of senders. And Nigeria, which is one of the top recipients of the remittances globally, is expected to be among the hardest hit. Even according to the CBN, we had reports that the personal remittances into the country had even reached 20.93 billion naira in 2024, actually making it the highest level in 5 years so far, and a critical component of the Nigeria's balance of payments. But they are giving us notes that the 3.5% levy could cost Nigeria as much as $250 million annually in lost remittances value, with wider implications for families and the economy so far. I don't know what are the consequences of that, and what is your take on that? Although it is not currently clear what portion of the remittance comes from the U.S. Nigerians in the U.S. were estimated to have sent over $6 billion home based on available research as of 2015. What are the consequences of that? That on one side, and also reports on Trump as well, with Trump versus Musk feud, which had actually taken a huge or dramatic turn so far, especially when we had reports from the former White House strategist Steve Bannon, calling on Elon Musk deportation, and he was speaking to the New York Times, urging the president to launch multiple investigations into the billionaire, accusing him of, being an illegal alien and demanding that his immigration status be scrutinized. And he also claimed that Musk's alleged drug use, and his, reported request for a classified Pentagon briefing on China should be grounds for suspending his security clearance. And this latest attack from within Trump's inner circle has come as the rift between the two powerful Of course, we knew Musk's reaction to the bill, especially bill so far, but the feud between them, how do you see it go by?
Well, two issues here. Foreign remittances should be badly impacted by this new remittance bill that President Trump is trying to enact, again, whether we like it or not. When it comes to forex inflows into the country, there was a huge value on diaspora remittances.
Yeah.
And now what is being said is that, no, these levies may see people pull back from sending money back home, if you understand what I'm saying, because they'll be looking at what they will be charged to continue to put these monies back. About 3.5% is no joke, if you understand what I'm saying. So yes, there's going to be that impact, because again, the value of the diaspora remittances is already well over $20 billion annually. And so that could be impacted. How we intend to respond, or the level of impact, whether there's going to be consequences on our economy, I think the economic experts would have to begin to think with that situation. Yeah. But for Donald Trump and Elon Musk, people always say be careful what you do to others, because they might one day do it to you. Be careful what you do to others, because you might also now be at the receiving end. So I'm not surprised that conspiracy theorists like Steve Bannon are already questioning the legality of the citizenship of Elon Musk. To break it down, because it's a bit technical. Elon Musk had headed the Department of Government Efficiency, which had done a lot in cutting down the government spendings and expenditure. USAID, laying off of staff. Because the idea was that, look, the government deficit, spending deficit in the U.S. has to go down, that there were too many wasted corruption. So, and he did a lot of work too. Research grants were cut, research of reducing government spending to barest minimum, taking away wastages and what have you. Only for the spending bill, which Donald Trump called a big, beautiful bill. Okay. Returning the country back to bigger deficit. You say we should cut down spending, but you have now presented a bill that has now been passed. That has now ballooned the whole thing. I'm like, okay, so what was I doing before? So I cut down all these things only for you to now, and this is even government spending going, through the roof. But one would have thought that these two guys were going to show some restraint, see some level of decorum. But now these guys have all gone ballistic. If you've seen what the president, Donald Trump, has been putting on his Truth Social, and check what Elon Musk is putting on X, it has gone crazy. Yeah, it is now about personal attacks that's even gone beyond criticizing the policy. Now they are on each other's personality, throwing jabs, and Elon Musk seems to be like, I'm going to do more. In fact, his recent tweet is that, look, I'm going to bring out some damning revelation about this president. Donald Trump, too, has been throwing his own jab, too. So it's all messy. And I was speaking with Barrister Curtis yesterday, and he said, we said it, that these are two guys with big ego. They can't stay together in the same room. It won't last. The romance is not going to last. The love is not going to last, and that's what we're seeing. Interesting times ahead, really, between President Trump and the billionaire Elon Musk.
All right. That very story also captures.
We'll get Barrister Curtis to expand more on this conversation on Sunday.
Sunday.
We'll do that on
All right, definitely. Page 20. Telcos actually about the USSD war. We earlier had reports that the USSD will now be deduction fee will now be charged from airtime. During the meeting between the CBN, NCC, and rep from telcos and even banks. And now the telcos are coming opposing the airtime charges for bank transfers. Basically, let me just summarize, saying that, well, during the meeting, the agreement was not the fact that they resolved to airtime, that what they agreed on is when they are done meeting their debt obligations, that is when they can resolve to the airtime deduction fee. That's not what the agreement is all about. And so they had come to refute the claims that the banks are saying they've resulted to the fact that the USSD reduction
collect your money directly
from the airtime. So now the telcos are saying no, that's not the agreement they reached. That the agreement was that it is after they are done with their out, you can use other means. You have your online banking and all of that. That if you are not ready to pay your debt, then you shouldn't come out to say that you want to get your money from airtime and all of that. So that's the update so far. Fuad.
You see, it's like I was telling you yesterday, it's not ironic now.
Yeah, you mentioned when banks that are keeping money and are now caught in the web of having debt.
It's just unfortunate. And I think what the telcos are saying is that, look, no, don't jump the ship, don't jump the gun. Sorry. Let us first sort out the gift that you are owing. Don't begin to say no. Because I think that at the end of the day, the telcos will still have to take the option of deducting the USSD transaction fee from the credit of people.
But there are there are several concerns about that. Okay, what about those that users that don't have at that point of maybe you don't use it then
I think yesterday was said that there will be two options. So you now pick the ones you want to use to pay for your USSD transaction. So if you have credit, you use your credit, and if at that point you want to use USSD and there's no credit on your phone, you can then say they should deduct it from your bank account.
Well,
if you understand what I'm saying.
All right, if there is an option for that, then I think that's at least.
You know the reason why we are talking about this thing is because banks are collecting money and have not remitted to where they are supposed to remit. And they remove their own.
And they are not remitting the of course, there's a sharing formula. They are not remitting that of the telcos.
Wait, how does it sound to you that Nigerian banks are not creditworthy? The banks that preach creditworthiness, who go after their customers who default on loans and what have you, have helped people to collect money, remove their own. To pay people who own the money now is a problem.
Issues from, and then you are surprised when you see things like this. Anyway, that also you have to get in the Punch newspaper, specifically that's on page 22 in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, quickly from the Punch also we have Tinubu Shettima ticket intact, says APC. The ruling APC had dismissed growing speculation that President Bola Tinubu may sideline Vice President Kashim Shettima ahead of the 2027 presidential election. And this was coming from through its National Vice Chairman Southeast, that's Dr. Ujoma, downplaying the speculation and calling it distraction. That's as it stands. Of course, the Tinubu Shettima ticket is intact in 2027. So
whether the ticket is intact or not, how does that put food on the table of the ordinary people? Okay, maybe for politicians, it might be relevant as conversation. I don't know why this is even making whether the ticket is intact or not. What does it take? How does that concern you and I now? That the ticket is intact or not intact? Okay, the ticket as it is said. What has been the result of the ticket for you and I?
Reforms and policies.
Okay. So it means that since the ticket is still intact, more reforms, more policies.
And they are getting results from the policies and reforms so far, according to the presidency. Okay. We have been asked to be patient, manage our expectations.
My mind tells me that by 2027 the tickets will not be intact. I don't know, but my mind is telling me.
The APC tickets. Okay.
This ticket of Tinubu Shettima is not there are too many APC tickets. I'm talking about
of course, the presidency and the vice president. Okay.
My mind tells me that the tickets will change in 2027. I don't know, but it's just what my mind is telling.
It's telling that there are several indices to look at about that. That's a discussion for another day. Anyway, the Guardian also is capturing quickly from the Center of Excellence. Sanwo-Olu announces arrival of new coaches for Blue Line Rail. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has announced the arrival of the 3 brand new train sets, a total of 12 coaches for the Lagos Blue Line Rail, promising shorter wait times and more comfortable services for residents. He disclosed this yesterday in a Facebook post, and he was noting that the development was another significant stride in the state's ongoing effort to improve the mass transit and reduce the daily stress of commuting across the state. For what cities are welcoming.
Well, welcoming, better late than never. We have been on this Blue Rail now, God knows for how long. But we started this Blue Rail conversation right from the tenure of Governor Babátúndé Fáṣọlá, former Governor Babátúndé Fáṣọlá, and how many years down the line, the Blue Rail has still not passed from TMS to Mile 2. That's a rail line that's supposed to get to Okoko. At least by the plans that we have seen in the past, and if we are still just struggling to ensure that there's an efficient run of the Blue Rail, from CMS to Mile 2. But again, it's a welcome development, better late than never. I don't know whether to congratulate Lagosians or say, well, is there anything to really celebrate this one? Because the other red line, I think the red, I don't even know how efficiently we are running the red line.
Red line.
It was also commissioned.
Right,
so
yes.
Still running effectively, I don't think anybody can really say whether after the commissioning, the red rail is still running efficient. There are also supposed to be other lines that we have not even started anything on. Green line, yellow line, they're supposed to connect other parts of Lagos to parts of Ogun State and what have you. I think that we have a beautiful intermodal transport plan in Lagos.
Yes.
How we have not been able to activate it completely, effectively, is what I don't know. And nobody's come and tell me that there's no money. Because these are things that could have been done through a transparent PPP arrangement, private partnership arrangement. But again, like the ADC governorship candidate in the last election said, Dr. Doherty, there are still questions around issues of corruption, misappropriation of funds on some of these projects. But that's the conversation for another day.
Right, another day, because our time is fast spent. Just to round off this segment, quickly, The Guardian also, the bigger story on the midterm review, a test of Nigeria's resilience and Tinubu's promises in The Guardian, page 4 and 5 captures also the urging Nigerians to give sacrifice, compassion and unity by Tinubu, Atiku and others. Page 6 captures that. Also from How to Reclaim Nigeria's Dream by FCT Minister, page 38 also has that story. Benue wants residents as flood displaces 18,592, page 38. Also, we are having in the extension from Niger to Benue State about the flood. Away from that, also, we have Time to Move. Akwa Ibom governor speaks on defecting from PDP, says the page 3 captures that. And just quickly, Tinubu hopeful of improved healthcare with $350 million African Medical Center of Excellence. Page 7 captures that very story. That's all we also have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Thank you very much, Fuad, for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
For Idio Kabir to you once again. And people on Facebook are also extending that to you as well. Sending Idio Bakari Salah to fight Fuad, which I started to enjoy. God bless you too. Thank you very much. We're back for Mail and Focus, still Morning Express.